The path to finding your soulmate is rarely the one we imagine, drawn in a straight line on the predictable maps of our expectations. It's a subtle dance, a silent and infinitely intelligent orchestration, where a higher power, whether you call it God, the universe, or something else, prepares us, shapes us, and guides us often without our even knowing towards the one who is meant for us. These accidents that are no accident at all, these unsettling coincidences that seem to tear through the veil of everyday life to hint at a hidden intention. The visionary psychiatrist Carl Jung gave them a name: synchronicities. They aren't mere chance occurrences, but bridges built between our inner world, our deepest psyche, and the very fabric of the universe. They are luminous signs, sometimes as discreet as a whisper, assuring us that we are not walking alone, and that our quest for authentic love is heard, understood, and even actively supported by a wisdom far beyond our own. It's about recognizing that love, in its purest form, isn't so much a conquest as it is a revelation, a gradual unveiling orchestrated by an unseen hand. Perhaps you feel it within you, either sharply or as a diffuse sense. This waiting. A waiting that isn't simply the absence of another, but a vibrant inner space, sometimes painful, sometimes filled with a strange sense of fullness. It's a sensory solitude where outer silence can amplify inner turmoil, or conversely, become the crucible for a deeper listening to oneself. You may have known that emotional fatigue, that weariness of the soul that comes after giving too much, hoping too much, struggling too much in relationships that turned out to be dead ends, distorting mirrors of your own wounds. This inner saturation, as if your being has absorbed more dissonance than it could transmute, leaves you with a subtle but persistent feeling of exhaustion. And then there's that hypervigilance, that inner radar sharpened to an extreme, capable of picking up the slightest shifts in atmosphere, the heaviest unspoken words, the invisible energies circulating between people. This is the experience of sensitive souls. Those who feel too much see too much, and sometimes buckle under the weight of this too much. This burden of carrying what overflows the frame of sensing the world's floating anxieties. One can feel isolated in this refined perception, misunderstood in navigating the subtle currents of existence. Know this: these intimate experiences, far from being weaknesses, are the marks of heightened sensitivity, the very fertile ground for radical transformation, an inner alchemy, where the lead of suffering can, with time and awareness, be transmuted into spiritual gold. And what if I told you, with all the conviction of wisdom proven time and again by those who have walked this path before you, that this period of waiting, this apparent journey through the desert, is actually a crucial phase of preparation, a blessing disguised as patience? Modern society, with its cult of immediacy and performance, conditions us to see being single or waiting as a failure, an anomaly to be corrected as quickly as possible. But a spiritual perspective offers us an entirely different interpretation. How many relationships are born and die prematurely because individuals enter them as one might seek refuge, desperately trying to fill gaping voids, to heal old wounds with the illusion that the other person will be the miracle cure. Not having yet found the right person, or rather, the person with whom a deep resonance is possible, can be an exquisite form of divine protection. A grace that prevents you from engaging in dynamics that would only repeat old, painful patterns, that would pull you away from your center, from your truth. This is a sacred time, a gift from the universe, granted to you for inner healing, for the polishing of your inner diamond. So that your energy can purify, settle, so that your vibrational frequency can rise and harmonize with that of the love you are destined to experience. The universe, in its infinite patience and wisdom, waits until you are truly ready. Not perfect, because perfection is a sterile illusion, but conscious enough, healed enough, aligned enough to welcome and cultivate a love that will be a source of fulfillment, not further suffering. This is a pressing invitation to dive into the depths of your unconscious, to meet your shadows, those parts of yourself that you may have judged, repressed, or feared. Carl Jung magnificently illuminated this path of individuation, the process by which one becomes a complete, unified being by consciously integrating all facets of one's personality. For it is often in these shadow areas that the keys to our liberation, the treasures of our creative power, and the capacity to love and be loved healthily are hidden. Our ideas about a soulmate, about the ideal partner, are frequently a complex scaffolding, a mental construct built from fragments of our past experiences. Fleeting joys, stinging wounds, from cultural and familial expectations, passed down to us sometimes insidiously, and from our deepest insecurities projecting their desires and fears onto the screen of the other. We thus forge an image, a checklist sometimes as long as your arm, and without even realizing it, this idealized image becomes a gilded cage, a filter that prevents us from seeing the reality of those we meet, and even more seriously, from recognizing the person who is truly destined for us. Because that person, the one whose soul deeply resonates with ours, is often, very often, quite different from this ideal shaped by our ego or our deficiencies. This is where the crucial importance of learning to listen to that inner whisper, that subtle voice of intuition, comes in. It carves a path through the noise of our thoughts and emotions. Intuition doesn't shout, it breathes, it guides with a quiet certainty that transcends purely rational logic. To open yourself to the unexpected, to lay down the weapons of mental control, is to allow the magic of life to operate, to surprise us with gifts our limited minds could never have conceived. The Stoic philosophers like Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius taught us centuries ago the wisdom of distinguishing what depends on us, our thoughts, our judgments, our interactions, from what does not, external events, the behavior of others, the timing of encounters. Our rigid expectations about love depend only on us, and they can be a major source of frustration. The form that true love will take, the moment of its appearance. These things are largely beyond our direct control. Welcoming this truth with serenity is already a great step towards inner peace and, paradoxically, towards the encounter itself. This is the very essence of amor fati, the love of fate, not passive resignation, but an active, trusting acceptance of life's unfolding.
Have you ever taken the time to contemplate the incredible butterfly effect manifesting in the course of your love life? A decision that seemed trivial at the time, a slight change of course in your habits, a timid yes to an invitation you were about to refuse, and then, months or years later, you realize that this tiny event was the starting point of a chain of consequences that led you, almost miraculously, to a significant encounter or prepared the ground for it.
What, on the surface, looks like pure chance, a happy or unhappy coincidence, is often, when viewed more closely with the eyes of the soul, a brilliant synchronicity, a masterpiece in a divinely orchestrated puzzle of which you can still only perceive a few fragments. Forcing things in love, wanting at all costs, to control the when, the how, the with whom is like trying to swim against the current of a powerful river. You exhaust yourself, you struggle, and you often end up moving further away from your true destination. Letting yourself be guided by your deep feelings, by that inner guidance which is our most reliable compass, allows for a natural alignment, a fluidity in the movement of life. This is the manifestation of the law of vibration. When you are deeply aligned with your inner truth, when your being vibrates at the frequency of authenticity, peace and self-love, you begin to attract by magnetic resonance, experiences, situations, and people who vibrate on that same wavelength. It's no longer an anxious hunt, but a serene attraction. One of the greatest veils, the most insidious obstacle preventing us from seeing clearly on the path of love and recognizing our soul partner, is often ourselves. Our own unconscious blockages, our repressions patiently accumulated since childhood, our unhealed emotional wounds that continue to replay their silent dramas in the theater of our adult relationships. The famous mirror test is relentlessly accurate. We inevitably attract what we vibrate, what we are in the deepest layers of our being. If you carry within you, even unconsciously, a saturation of anxieties, fears of abandonment or rejection, a feeling of not being worthy of love, You are very likely to attract situations or partners who will painfully push these buttons, reactivating these sufferings again and again until you choose to face and heal them. Carl Jung brilliantly described the mechanism of projection, whereby we unconsciously attribute to others parts of our own shadow, those aspects of ourselves that we do not accept, that we judge as negative, but also, and this is crucial, parts of our unrecognized light, our golden shadow, our untapped potentials. To heal on a relational level is to learn to bring these projections back to yourself, to recognize that what intensely irritates or fascinates us in another often speaks of ourselves. It's about cleaning your own inner mirror so that it can reflect reality with greater clarity. Reaching a state of deep peace with your own solitude, discovering a form of inner sovereignty where your happiness, your completeness, no longer critically depend on an external presence, is an unmistakable sign of preparation. It is then that love can arrive no longer as a crutch for a faltering being, but as a joyful and creative dance between two whole beings who choose to share their respective abundance rather than seeking to fill their mutual lacks. So, how do you recognize this love that is truly aligned with your destiny? This encounter that bears the seal of a soul-to-soul connection. It's not always the loud, fleeting fireworks of superficial passions that quickly burn through their own fuel. Often, it's a deep, almost elusive feeling at first, of inner peace, a quiet certainty that settles in, a feeling of rightness that resonates in every cell of your body. Your fundamental values, those that form the framework of your being and your worldview, find a natural echo in the other person, without needing to twist yourself out of shape or deny yourself. There's mutual encouragement, tacit or explicit, for personal growth, a sincere admiration for the other's unique path, with its strengths and vulnerabilities. The relationship unfolds with a certain fluidity, an organic grace, even if challenges may arise, for no relationship is entirely smooth sailing. But these challenges are faced together as opportunities to grow, not as incessant power struggles where you must constantly fight to exist or be heard, without having to carry alone what overflows and exhausts. It's a profound resonance, a presence that, far from extinguishing or diminishing you, amplifies your own light, makes you feel more alive, more authentic, more yourself than you have ever been. Your intuition, that infallible radar of the soul, will confirm it with a deep sense of calm, a kind of inner yes that manifests even amidst the turmoil and uncertainties of the external world. This is a love that doesn't demand you lose yourself to exist, but one that reveals you to yourself ever more deeply. Ultimately, the essential question, the one that deserves all your attention and most sincere reflection, is not so much when this long-hoped-for person will finally arrive in your life, but rather, am I, in the depths of my being, truly ready to recognize them, to welcome them in all their human truth, beyond my filters, my fears, and my illusory expectations? Significant encounters, those that carry the potential for mutual transformation and seem marked by the seal of synchronicity, occur with astonishing accuracy when we have reached a certain level of inner preparation, self-awareness, and loving mastery of our own energy. True love, the kind that lasts and uplifts, is not a reward won through supplication or luck, but a natural consequence, an organic blossoming stemming from profound personal transformation. The other doesn't come to save you from your loneliness or your shortcomings. He or she comes to accompany you, to reflect you, to inspire you on your own path of evolution, like a soul partner, a fellow traveler on the demanding but magnificent road of consciousness. So patience ceases to be a passive, frustrating weight and becomes an active virtue, a vibrant and dynamic trust in divine timing which, never doubt, is always imbued with a perfection that surpasses our immediate understanding. Cultivate your inner garden with love and devotion. Pull out the weeds of your limiting beliefs. Water the seeds of your potential. Expose yourself to the light of your own consciousness. And rest assured that the most beautiful flower, that of an aligned and fulfilling love, will eventually bloom there, at the right time, in the most perfect way. If you feel this call within you to welcome a love that reflects your soul, If you are ready to trust this subtle orchestration and commit to the path of your own preparation, comment below with, "I am open to true love," or a phrase that resonates with you. Subscribe to continue this exploration of the soul's mysteries and the luminous paths of personal growth together. Share this reflection with those who, like you, are seeking deeper meaning in their quest for love and connection. And always remember this, like a breath of truth that accompanies you. The most important whisper, the surest guidance, is the one your soul speaks to you in the sacred silence of your heart. Learn to listen to it, for it holds the keys to your joy.